the streets in certain New York City neighborhoods ask about police quotas for arrests and summonses, and this is what you often hear.
There's a quota system. There always has been, and there always will be until someone changes it.
Y'all see that? That's what they targeted.
Take a seat right here, guys. The front row is set.
These NYPD officers, all currently on the job, say it's true. They've all worked the streets, the subways, and patrolled housing developments.
The department says there are no quotas.
Well, I could tell you, I'm a police officer. There are quotas in the NYPD.
Are they lying?
Absolutely. It's illegal for them to admit it.
They come from different precincts, largely minority neighborhoods in Brooklyn or the Bronx, but their stories are remarkably similar.
They tell you this to your face. Black Hispanics between 14 to 21. They must get stopped.
They're plaintiffs in a federal class action lawsuit that claims the NYPD is violating a 2010 state ban on quotas, speaking out together for the first time.
At the end of the month, these officers, whoever don't have that arrest or those few summonses, they're pressured to find something. You might not see nothing. You're supposed to be visible. You might not see anything, but you go hunting, like bounty hunting for an arrest. Locking up some old guy, some homeless guy, finding somebody who's riding their bicycle on the sidewalk, who's spitting, and you bring him in.
The problem is when you go hunting, when you put any type of numbers on a police officer to perform, we are going to go to the most vulnerable.
The most vulnerable?
Of course. We're going to go to LGBT community. We're going to go to the black community. We're going to go to those people that have no vote, that have no power. If we start doing what we're doing in Midtown Manhattan, a phone call to the mayor's office is going to be made. That's going to be the end of it.
We're the predators, they're the prey. The worst thing you can have is a police officer that needs an arrest for the month.
So you're all minorities. How does that make you feel?
It's horrible.
This is something coming from the top that trickles its way down, and this is why we're all here today.
We first interviewed Officer Edwin Raymond last month. He says he's been recording conversations with NYPD officials for the past 2 years in an effort to prove alleged quotas and retaliation against cops who don't rack up numbers.
They're breaking the law.
Raymond's claims elicited this expletive from the police commissioner.
Bullshit is my response to that.
The commissioner insists his policies are focused on the quality of arrests and summonses, not the quantity. The officer's attorney.
Is the commissioner lying?
Yes. Commissioner Bratton is lying.
How can you prove this?
I can prove it with testimony, with recordings, with documents.
All they want us to do is go out there and lock them up. They told us it's easy to get numbers out here because you work in this type of community.
Are you arresting for stuff that you shouldn't be arresting for?
Well, that's why we're here. We don't do it. We refuse, and because of that, we are retaliated against.
Because you're not harassing people, you're being punished, you know? And it doesn't make for a great work environment because they want you to harass people.
The lawsuit claims minority officers are punished more severely than white cops for failing to meet quotas. The city denies it.
And the community are suffering the most.
Because?
Because the pressure, because the quota. Because the police department is like a whore pretending to be a lady. That's what they are.
Are you worried? You know, this is a big step to come forward like this.
It's not easy. It's not easy. We are the enemies. We are the people that nobody talk to. The culture of the department, we are the rats. That's how they call us. We are the rats that speak out. It takes a lot of guts from a rat to stand where we stand, knowing that our career are basically over the second we speak against such a mafia. Because the police department is a mafia. It's a big organized mafia.
Staying focused for Jesus.
Continuing to help support.
Congressman West, is it time for the government to be shut down if the White House and Congress can't agree in order to force the president's hand and compel him to do what we hired him to do, which is run the government within the confines of the Constitution and only with the money he collects from taxes and other fees?
Well, you're absolutely right, Judge. You know, what we have to look at is the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. We have to look at is the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. We have to look at is the president is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. Look, he told the vice president that he would be part of this this budget process, but now the vice president has left the country. So I don't think you see any seriousness coming out of the White House. this. The bottom line is this. We have a situation that we have to deal with. And I think that the American people, if we continue down the road of subsequent 2-week CRs, there's just more uncertainty, unpredictability that we are creating out there. And when you have that uncertainty, then you're also creating a lack of trust and confidence in who we are and what we're sent here to be. You know, I spent 22 years being a leader in the United States Army, and that's what I'm up here to do, is to show my leadership.
Congressman West, Congressman Mack, you guys have your work cut out for you. Thanks
Yes,
for the
we do.
time. Thanks for the time you spent with us on the Glenn Beck program. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Judge.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Staying Focused for Jesus. In this video, I'm going to present the case and prove to you without a reasonable doubt that America is, in fact, a corporation. The United States of America is a corporation. And what you have is you have two different United States. You have the United States, which is supposed to be based off of the Constitution, which is supposed to be a republic. And then you have the United States Corporation. The United States Corporation is what is in fact in charge right now. And I'm going to show you from their very own law that this is fact. Now, this video piggybacks off of a few videos I've made in the past. More recently, the one in regards to should a Christian vote. Now, some of you agree or you disagree with that. That's your choice in regards to what you want to believe, but the facts speak for themselves. The research speaks for itself, which is why a lot of times I like to show it on the screen and read it along with you as you read it with me. So you can see that these are things that I'm not making up. These are things that you can easily find yourself by pausing the video, typing in the web address, or typing in any of the things that I'm speaking about. So if in fact America, as we know it today, is a corporation, then how does your vote count? How can you be patriotic for what you shouldn't be patriotic either way? Because patriotism is breeded in pride, and God is going to destroy the United States Republic or the United States, the corporation. Doesn't matter. It's all coming down. But how can we stand for these things if, in fact, we are under a corporation being traded like cattle? Kind of similar to what the book of Revelation talks about in regards to Mystery Babylon. Souls of men. Also talks about a Mystery Babylon traded men. We know about the what goes on during the Super Bowl, the sex trafficking and stuff like that. We know about the trafficking of organs. We know about the trafficking of people. All these things are fulfilled by Bible prophecy, with them being rooted primarily in America. Funny how the scriptures come to pass, but we still want to sit here and say that our vote counts, our vote matters, while these things go on in the darkness, I should say, while they go on in the darkness. So how is it that these things can continue to go on in the darkness, yet people continue to claim that their vote counts, their vote matters? So if your vote counts and your vote matters, then why do things continue to get worse? But let's get into the facts. And all I ask is for you to judge righteously. So we're on the website, Cornell Law School, and we see U.S. Code, Title 28, Part VI, Chapter 176, Subchapter A, 3002, which is 28 U.S. Code 3002, definitions. So we're just going to read it, and then we're going to get to the part that you're going to see that America is a corporation, that America was sold. The America that you thought that you had was sold a long time ago. So it says, as used in this chapter, Counsel for the United States means. So it's going to define what these different terms mean in regards to this chapter that is in place by the government. These are their laws and their words. Counsel for the United States means a United States attorney and assistant United States attorney designated to act on behalf of the United States attorney or an attorney with the United States Department of Justice or with a federal agency who has litigation authority, and any private attorney authorized by contract made in accordance with Section 3718 of Title 31 to conduct litigation for collection of debts on behalf of the United States. Interesting. Collect debt. Number 2, court means any court created by the Congress of the United States, excluding the United States Tax Court. Debt means an amount that is owing to the United States on account of a direct loan or loan issued or guaranteed by the United States. Or B, an amount that is owing to the United States on account of a fee, duty, lease, rent, service, sale of real or personal property, overpayment, fine, assessment, penalty, restitution, damages, interest, tax, bail bond, forfeiture, reimbursement, recovery of a cost incurred by the United States or other source of indebtedness to the United States, but that is not owing under the terms of a contract originally entered into by only persons other than the United States. So let's go back up. And it talks about an amount that is owing to the United States on account of a direct loan or loan insured or guaranteed by the United States. Under the United States Corporation, that includes people. Because what they do is they loan you out when you work. They're loaning you out, and they're lending you money. So it's a complete revolving cycle of what they are talking about right here, that you continually owe the United States. You are continually indebted to the United States. So it continues on, it says, and includes any amount owing to the United States for the benefit of an Indian tribe or individual Indian, but excludes any amount to which the United States is entitled under Section 3011A. So they can come after you to get this money to pay an Indian tribe or individual Indian, because they know they owe them, but they don't give them what they're supposed to anyway, because they break their own treaties. Number 4, debtor means a person who is liable for a debt or against whom there is a claim for a debt. America always wants you to be in debt. America's whole system is based off of debt. You probably see China and these different places. They're selling the U.S. dollar. They're selling debt. That's what they're getting rid of. Disposable earnings means that part of earnings remaining after all deductions required by law have been withheld. Number 6, earnings. Earnings means compensation paid or payable for personal services, whether denominated as wages, salary, commission, bonus, or otherwise, and includes periodic payments pursuant to a pension or retirement program. Number 7, Garnishee means a person other than the debtor who has or is reasonably thought to have possession, custody, or control of any property in which the debtor has a substantial non-exempt interest, including any obligation due the debtor or to become due the debtor, and against whom a garnishment under Section 3104 or 3205 is issued by a court. Now, you may be wondering why I'm reading all this, because I want you to flow into it, and then you'll see when we get to the point. Judgment means a judgment, order, or decree entered in favor of the United States in a court and arising from a civil or criminal proceeding regarding a debt. Did you catch that? Judgment. So a judgment to them. This is their own definition. So you talk about judgment. The courts need to issue judgments and stuff like that. According to them, judgment means what? A judgment, order, or decree entered in favor of who? Of the United States. It said nothing about the people. In a court arising from a civil or criminal proceeding regarding a debt. That's why when you get pulled over for speeding, they set these speed traps up so they can issue a judgment so you can go to court, because it is now a debt. They make speeding a criminal offense. That's ridiculous. They make speeding is a criminal offense. And they issue a judgment against you because now it is a debt. Because they are workers, the police are workers of the corporation. And when it says protect and serve, it's not for the people, it's for the corporation. Protect and serve our money, which is why number 8 again says judgment. It says judgment. It tells you what a judgment is. Decree entering in who? In favor of who? The United States. In a court. You go to court when you break the law. Arising from a civil or criminal proceeding regarding a debt. So when you have a judgment issued against you, it's so you can pay a debt. Because they say that you broke a civil or criminal law. They want their money. You can't pay it, then we're going to get it out you in jail. Number 9, non-exempt disposable earnings means 25% of disposable earnings subject to Section 303 of the Consumer Credit Protection Act. Number 10, pay attention to this one. Person, this is who they define a person as. Includes a natural person, including an individual Indian, a corporation, a partnership, an unincorporated association, a trust, or an estate, or any other public or private entity, including a state or local government, or an Indian tribe. Now you see all these things they talk about in regards to a person. More the emphasis is on things that are created. Corporations, trusts, estates, public or private entity, including a state or local government. So, according to them, the government is a person which can sue you and be sued. According to them, the government itself is a living person. Because they put corporations and governments in there with what? A natural person under their definition. That's why your name is always capitalized in these different documents. Because of everything to do with legal matters. Number 11, prejudgment remedy means the remedy of attachment, receivership, garnishment, or sequestration authorized by this chapter to be granted before judgment on the merits of a claim for a what? A debt. Why they keep on talking about debt in regards to judgment? Because it's everything to do with money. Number 12, property includes any present or future interests, whether legal or equitable, in real, personal, including chooses in action or mixed property, tangible or intangible, vested or contingent, wherever located and however held, including community property and property held in trust, including spendthrift and pension trusts, but excludes property held in trust by the United States for the benefit of an Indian tribe or Indian individual, and B, Indian land subject to restrictions against alienation imposed, by the United States, meaning they can come after you for future earnings and earnings you already got, even if your property is held in a trust. A lot of times they don't come after you if it's in a trust. They don't really come after it because it makes it harder because there are loopholes in it. But it is in there where they can do it if they want to. But a lot of times they don't. But don't think that they won't though. Number 13, security agreement means an agreement that creates or provides for a lien. A lien is a judgment. That means you owe some money to them. State means any of the several states. The District of Columbia, I'm going to show you how they contradict themselves. Because they have state that means what? District of Columbia, but then you're going to see that's not true. The Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, the Commonwealth of the Northern Marinas, or any territory or possession of the United States. Now, this is what I want to get to right here. I want y'all to really, really pay attention because it says it. United States means a federal corporation. Say what? United States means A, federal corporation. B, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States. Or C, any instrumentality of the United States. Any or an instrumentality of the United States. I want you to really think about C also, because I just thought about something. If you are owned by the corporation, then that would mean that you are an instrument of the United States, which means that you are included in the United States, which means they own you pretty much. You're going to do what we tell you to do, or you're going to jail, or we're going to take you out. I want you to really go back to A, though, again. A federal corporation. That's what the United States means. Why doesn't it say anything about the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence? Why doesn't it say anything about that? Why would the first thing they say is the United States is a federal corporation? Because that's what it is. It's a corporation. So we can shut the video down right there. But we're going to continue forward. Number 16, United States Marshal means a United States Marshal, a deputy marshal, or an official of the United States Marshal Service designation under Section 564. I need to dig a little bit deeper into that also, see what's going on with that. So let's continue forward. Let's define some of these things, like what is a corporation? Because it said that the United States is a corporation. A corporation is an artificial person or legal entity created by or under the authority of the laws of a state or nation, composed in some rare instances of a single person and his successors, being the incumbents of a particular authority, but ordinarily consisting of an association of numerous individuals who subsist as a body politic under a special denomination, which is regarded in law as having a personality and existence distinct from that of its several members, and which is by the same authority vested with the capacity of continuous succession, irrespective of changes in its membership, either in perpetuity or for a limited term of years, and of acting as a unit or single individual in matters relating to the common purpose of the association within the scope of the powers and authorities conferred upon such bodies by law. Now, I found it very, very interesting that it talks about a corporation is an artificial person or legal entity created by or under the authority of the laws of a state or nation. But we're going to see something very interesting, that the whole United States thing, it contradicts the very laws they put forth. I wonder why. You got too much stuff mingling together, and a bunch of confusion. That's all it is. So it tells us what is United States. Now, we just defined what United States was, right? It was a federal corporation, or any office, or I think it said district. Let's go back. Let's get that one more time. An agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, or any instrumentality of the United States. Okay, so we got that definition. Now let's go back and read this and see what it says. What is United States? Made up of the 50 federated states, America Samoa, District of Columbia, Johnston Island, Guam, Wake and Midway Islands, Northern Marianas, and U.S. Virgin Islands. So all these are corporations or instruments of the United States. So what is federal? In constitutional law, a term commonly used to express a league or compact between two or more states. In American law, belonging to the general government or union of the states, founded on or organized under the Constitution or laws of the United States. So it has everything to do with the Constitution, right? Allegedly. The United States has been generally styled in American political and judicial writings a federal government. The term has not been imposed by any specific constitutional authority. I'm going to read that one more time. The term has not been imposed by any specific constitutional authority. So they are holding the name of federal, claiming it has to do with constitutional law or American law when it really doesn't. Because it has not been enforced constitutionally. But under American law, belonging to the general government or union of the states founded on or organized under the Constitution or laws of the United States. Well, that's a contradiction in itself. Because it says the term has not been imposed by any specific constitutional authority. What is constitutional authority? The constitutional authority is what's within the Constitution. So they're saying that the Constitution, or the powers that be from the Constitution, they have not imposed this term federal to relate to the Constitution. Yet it says in the first part that it's tying into constitutional law. It's a bunch of crap. The term has not been imposed by any specific constitutional authority, but only expresses the general sense and opinion upon the nature of the form of government. So it's an expression, doesn't mean that it's like law. It's for however a person wants to interpret it, to use it however they need to use it. Why it says opinion. Opinion is a judgment, but it's a personal judgment. That doesn't mean that it has to be based off of a standard. It should be, but it's not. In recent years, there is observable a disposition to employ the term national in speaking of the government of the Union. Neither word settles anything as to the nature or powers of the government. So they're saying federal doesn't do it, so why are they using federal? So you see the word federal and you think, oh yeah, that's federal, when they're telling you right in their own laws that they don't mean nothing to them. They use it how they want to use it. So what is the federal government really? What is the FBI really? Federal is somewhat more appropriate if the government is considered a union of the states. But you just said in your own law that it's really for how a person wants to interpret it. So now we want to see, what is the District of Columbia? A territory situated on the Potomac River and being the seat of government of the United States. It was originally 10 miles square. It was composed of portions of Maryland and Virginia ceded by those states to the United States. That doesn't make any sense. How was it ceded by those states to the United States if those states are included in the United States? I wonder why it's called the District of Columbia. But in 1846, the tract coming from Virginia was retroed, I guess, probably pronounced that wrong. Legally, it is neither a state nor a territory, but is made subject by the Constitution to the exclusive jurisdiction of Congress. So it says legally it is neither a state nor a territory. So if it isn't a state or territory, that doesn't match up with everything we just read. So if it's not a state or territory that is made subject by the Constitution, but we just read that the term federal really is for however you want to interpret it, then what is the District of Columbia that is supposed to be the seat of government of the United States? So what is a state? What is a state? A state is a body politic or society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage. By the joint efforts of their combined strength. Cooley, Constitutional, LIM 1, one of the component commonwealths or states of the United States of America, the people of a state in their collective capacity considered as a party wronged by a criminal deed, the public as in the title of a cause. What is a territory? A part of a country separated from the rest and subject to a particular jurisdiction. In American law, a portion of the United States, not within the limits of any state. Well, hold on. The District of Columbia is a territory. But y'all saying it was a state. But then here, when you define the word territory, it says a portion of the United States not within the limits of any state, which has not yet been admitted as a state of the Union, but is organized with a separate legislature and with executive and judicial officers appointed by the president. So are these people appointed? Is it under the laws of the 50 states, or is it a completely different government? I think I know the answer to that. So this whole thing is contradicting itself. These laws that they have, they're contradicting their very selves. So let's go back to what was that? Territory. A part of a country separated from the rest and subject to a particular jurisdiction. In American law, a portion of the United States, not within the limits of any state. What is District of Columbia? A territory situated on the Potomac River and being the seat of government of the United States. It was originally, let's skip past that, jump down right here. Legally, it is neither a state nor a territory, but is made subject by the Constitution to the exclusive jurisdiction of Congress. So legally, it's not a state nor a territory. Yet they're saying that how can something that's not a state or a territory dictate the laws of a United States state or United States territory? That doesn't make any sense. Again, legally, it is neither a state nor a territory. So again, let's go back and see what is a state. Because if the District of Columbia is not a state, then we must know what a state is. A body politic or society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. So legally, the District of Columbia is not that. It says not a territory either, even though it says it's a territory. A part of a country separated from the rest and subject to a particular jurisdiction. So it said that the District of Columbia was a territory, but it's legally not a territory. So if it's legally not a territory, then it is not subject to a particular jurisdiction. In American law, a portion of the United States not within the limits of any state. Well, we just seen that the District of Columbia is legally not a state, so it's not bound by the laws of a state. It's legally not a territory, yet it is a territory. It's not subject to a particular jurisdiction, which means that it's also not within the limits of any state, which has not yet been admitted as a state of the Union, but is organized with a separate legislature and with executive and judicial officers appointed by the president. So let's read that one more time. A portion of the United States, not within the limits of any state. So it says it's organized with a separate legislature. But we just defined that the District of Columbia is a territory, but legally it is not a territory or a state. So if it's not a territory, then it's not organized. It is not a separate legislature under the United States government and all these different things that we just read. So is it a state or is it a territory? It says it's a territory, but it says it's legally not a territory or a state. See how they play with words and stuff? Now let's look, what is a republic? What is a republic? Because people talk about the Republic of the United States. The Republic of, I forgot the exact term. I don't want to mess it up. I know somebody probably killing me right now because I said of. A commonwealth, a form of government which derives all its powers directly or indirectly from the general body of citizens, and in which the executive power is lodged in officers chosen by and representing the people in holding office for a limited period or at most during good behavior or at the pleasure of the people, and in which the legislative power may be and in modern republics is entrusted by a representative assembly. That's what it's supposed to be. So let's see what is law. Well, let's see what legal is. Legally determined. A term that means that something has been decided by a law process. So when it says that legally the District of Columbia is neither a state or territory, it is saying that It has not been decided by a law process. Rather, it is a state or a territory. So what right does it have to the District of Columbia, which is where the White House and everything is? What right does it have to dictate the laws that are going forth to the real states? It doesn't. But the authority has been given up already. That's why they can do that under the term corporation. So let's see, what is law? What is actually law? Law, a body of rules of conduct of binding legal force and effect prescribed, recognized, and enforced by controlling authority. Well, it seems like the District of Columbia is not within the laws that they give forth. So they're not subject to the laws that they give forth to the people. Oh, that makes perfect sense because the government is doing what they want to. In U.S. law, the word law refers to any rule that, if broken, subjects a party to criminal punishment or civil liability. Has the government not done that? Laws in the United States are made by federal, state, and local legislatures, judges, the president, state governors, and administrative agencies. Then it says what? The United States Constitution, the highest law in the United States, is the U.S. Constitution. Well, that contradicts everything we just read. Because that's the case, then the District of Columbia is illegal. It's criminal. No state or federal law may contradict any provision in the Constitution, but the District of Columbia is doing that on a daily basis. In a sense, the federal Constitution is a collection of inviolable statutes. It can be altered only by amendment. Amendments passed after they are approved by 2/3 of both houses of Congress or after petition by 2/3 of the state legislators. Amendments are then ratified by 3/4 of the state legislators or by conventions in 3/4 of the states. Upon ratification, the amendment becomes part of the Constitution. Beneath the federal Constitution lies a vast body of other laws, including federal statutes, treaties, court decisions, agency regulations, and executive orders, and state constitutions, statutes, court decisions, agency regulations, and executive orders. So if the United States Constitution is the highest law of the United States, then the District of Columbia is illegal. It's not legit. Because the District of Columbia is a law unto itself, not subject to the Constitution. Because it is neither a state nor a territory, yet they're saying that's a territory. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I hope this video enlightened you for you to really see what's going on, that what you think is going on is really not going on. You think you're voting and stuff. Your vote doesn't count. We covered that before. Now I proved it that much more. The United States is a corporation. The only way you can get free from the corporation is through the blood of Jesus. You've entered into a blood covenant. You may be saying, well, how did you enter into a blood covenant with the United States corporation or with any corporation around the world? When you were born into this world. And that's a whole nother video right there. Especially when you were born in America. They had legal right to claim authority over you and do what they want to with you. That's why you have to be freed literally from the corporation by the blood of Jesus, because you entered into a blood covenant. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna say the rest of my talk for another video. But yeah, I love each and every one of y'all. God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused for Jesus. And as you know, truth is not debated, it is declared. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If it was edifying to you, be sure to do your part and share it on all your social media outlets, websites, and forums. Your help is greatly appreciated to help fight this war and reach lost souls. Don't forget to like, dislike, and/or subscribe. Be sure to also check out our website, stayingfocusedforjesus.life. And make sure you check out that resource section, which has a lot of videos that I share and some other stuff. Books, documents, PDF, websites, many things, and it's growing daily as I add to it. Also follow us on Facebook for even more content. Staying Focused for Jesus on Facebook.
Because you say I am rich and increased with goods and am need of nothing. And no, you are wretched and miserable, poor, blind and naked. So then because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, Jesus said that he would spit you out of his mouth. Stop playing church. We become something else, something worse, something more like the world. Where is the church? We become something else, neither hot nor cold, but lukewarm church. Jesus said, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that you may be rich, clothed in white raiment to hide the shame of your nakedness. So then because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, Jesus said that he would spit you out of his mouth. Stop playing church. We become something else, something worse, something more like the world. Where is the church? We become something else, neither hot nor cold, but lukewarm church. You say you a Christian, living like a child of hell. You a Christian, go to church, say the sinner's prayer. You a Christian, stay getting high, getting throwed, yeah. Monday through Saturday, anything go, yeah. Caught up in the world and left your first love. Jesus died in your place, he shed his precious blood. But you gotta be seen, pastor, apostle. Wake up, church, time to go and preach the gospel.